Dun 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 dun. Hey guys, it's time for my next Hogwarts House book recommendations, character recommendations, and today we're doing Ravenclaw, which is the house that I identify with most after Gryffindor, and also was the next easiest for me to do. Since I'm trying to pick characters that are like encouraging and the best of every house, I'm trying to, find the ones that are the best. And for me, Hufflepuff and Slytherin are harder just because I think that like the leads of stories are generally Gryffindor or Ravenclaw, just because when you're doing like a hero's journey or things like that, those are the attributes you see in those. That doesn't mean to me that they're more important, because I feel like Gryffindor falls under a lot of prideful issues a lot and could use some smarts or some kindness sometimes. And so anyway, in making that statement, I'm not like dissing other houses. I just think it's harder to find lead characters who embody Slytherin or Hufflepuff. It's just something I've noticed. Please point out any you find, because I'm still researching for the Slytherin and Hufflepuff houses. So, today I have Ravenclaw, and isn't this pretty? I got this for my birthday from one of my friends, as well as a matching blanket, and I love it. It's so cozy, and I love pillows, if you haven't noticed. I have all the nerdy things. So about Ravenclaw, it says this: "Or yet in wise old Ravenclaw, if you've a ready mind, where those of wit and learning will always find their kind." And so some other attributes are learning, wisdom, wit, intellect, quirkiness, kindness. Those are the things that fit into Ravenclaw. And so I had a lot of fun with this because I actually love a lot of characters who fit into Ravenclaw. I mean, Luna, if I wasn't a Gryffindor, she would be my spirit animal. But I mean, Hermione's kind of it for me. But Luna, I have friends who are Luna. I have friends who are Ravenclaws, and I love them. So, Allie, this video goes out to you because you are the favorite Ravenclaw in my life, and I love you. So, let's dive in. I ended up with 7 again for this, so that's cool. And let's just dive right in. First off, I want to start with a lesser known book, but it's one that I've tried to talk about a few times on my channel, and that is The Burning Sky, which is part of the Elemental trilogy by Sherry Thomas. And the character in here that I feel is Ravenclaw is Prince Titus. So lots of spoilers about this book that I'm going to try to not to say, but there is a task that is set before Titus, and he has to be very smart. He needs to outwit people who want to stop him at every turn. He's trying to find the next great elemental mage, is what they're called, and train that person and prepare them to defeat the great evil in this story. And he believes that this is supposed to be a boy, and Holy of Holies, it's a woman. And he was not prepared for that, because he was going to take this boy and have him join his boarding school so he could be training him while they were going to school together, and it's a girl. So Iolanthe Seaborn has to go undercover as a boy to be trained as this mage. So that's going to set it for this story. But Titus is so cool. He's a little bit grouchy because this is a heavy task and there's some heavy consequences that he knows about. This story unfolds between like flashbacks. It's a story that has some like footnotes, but instead of Nevernight, like the footnotes are at the back, so you never have to read them if you don't want to. Like the first time I read this, they were there, and then the next time I listened to it on audio, and they don't tell you what the footnotes are, so you don't have to worry about them at all. But I love this series. It's right behind me, the other two, The Perilous Sea and The Immortal Heights. I love this trilogy. I've read it twice, and I want to read it again. It is so good. Both me and my sister love these ones. Next, I want to talk about Althea from Contagion. She goes by Thea. I talked about this book a lot last year, and I will more this year because Immunity comes out this year. This is like a sci-fi horror novel, pretty much. The first one was anyway. But Althea is a research assistant to this crazy doctor. And at the beginning of this book, she's just helping with her experiments and like working through her internship. And there is a problem happening at a nearby planet, and they're the closest ones. So they're evacuating their planet, but they get sent to try to help with something that's going on. And like, it's so good, guys. I don't like horror that much, but I like it when it's told in an interesting way. This is beautiful. I read this because Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman said that it was amazing, and it is. It reminded me a lot of Illuminae, which was really fun at the time, but it's not. Like, it's different, but it reminds you of that in certain ways, and it's gorgeous, even though that's like germs and stuff. But yeah, it's great. And Althea is definitely a Ravenclaw. I know I talked more about the book than about her, but she is the youngest person in this party and sometimes the smartest one. But you know how that goes. Next, I want to talk about a character who reminds me of Luna. Like, I straight up picked this character because she is a Luna of the Lunar Chronicles, and that is Winter. Winter is so amazing. Like, she's that person you just want to take care of and protect, but she also has this like inner depth to her. She's being driven crazy by not using her lunar gift because she refuses to manipulate people, and she's paying the price for that. And I just love her, how strong she is and how clever, because everyone thinks she's crazy, but she knows what's going on, and she is going to do her best by her friends and by her planet, basically. So I love Winter. I love the Lunar Chronicles so much. So much. Why have you not read this yet? It is all the things. It has good friendship. It has cute romances, has an exciting plot. It has overthrowing a dictator. It has lost princesses, and it's retellings of fairy tales all mixed in together. Like, each part of the book. I forgot. This is my signed copy, by the way. It's beautiful. Sorry. It just, like, I opened it and was like, oh, surprise. And it's so good, guys. But like, each part of the story starts with a little bit of a fairy tale. So if you haven't read the Lunar Chronicles, I can't help you. Next, I want to throw up, he's a kooky character as well, and that is Zedekis Zulzarander from the Sword of Truth series. He is our great wizard in this series. He's a lot like a Gandalf, but a lot quirkier. Like, I think of him as like Gandalf mixed with like the 10th Doctor, because he's just so kooky. He's like Doctor Who mixed in, and it's amazing. This series, I haven't reread since I've heard a lot of shady things about Terry Goodkind, and I think maybe I like won't reread it. I maybe will only reread my favorite ones in the series, because I didn't know all those things when I was 15, and this was my first epic fantasy series. I wish it had been something else, but also I don't, because I love Richard and Kaylin and Zed and Kara, and I don't care, but I can fully appreciate why other people would throw some shade, and that Terry Goodkind deserves the shade from the shade tree. However, Zedekis is awesome. I love him. He's quirky. He's intelligent. He is always kind of like testing Richard to like see where he's at with his like wizardy deeds. I don't know. It's awesome. I love it. So that was the second book because my friend still has the first one. Next, I have Roger from the Outlander series, specifically when we start to get into Drums of Autumn, where he has a more important role. I love Roger. He is so, I have a thing for teachers. I think they're great. And he is that perfect mix of like sexy professor, but also he's a little daring. And I mean, I think he could be considered a Gryffindor on different days, but I think in his heart, he's Ravenclaw. It's just the love of his life pulls him into being a Gryffindor. But you know, Ravenclaws are up for a good time, and he has a lot of knowledge. We rely on his knowledge of history in a lot of different situations because, you know, spoiler, Outlander is a time traveling story. And so we need that in our lives. And, I love Roger, and I think he is like one of my favorite Ravenclaws. So I love it. Just 2 left. Next, I have Diana from A Discovery of Witches. I think that if you've read this, that this is pretty obvious. She is she's doing her thesis at Oxford's library and she's a witch, and she runs into Matthew Claremont, who is a vampire, and she is able to call up this book that is supposed to have like all the answers for the different species of magical creatures, which there are only like 3 in here. There is like demons, witches, and vampires, and then humans. And all 3 of them are like dying out except for humans. And this book is supposed to explain how to create more of them, supposedly. But Diana, she uses her brain. She's smart. She's logical. Even for being a witch, she would rather use her brain than like use magic. And I really love that about her. And I think it's fitting because Hogwarts is also magical. And so you need to have smarts to use magic or you get yourself into trouble. And then finally, this one is hard and he swings between Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw to me, but I landed on Ravenclaw just because of how he uses his brain, I think is different. And that is Adrienne from the Renegades trilogy by Marissa Meyer. She writes good Ravenclaws, what can I say? Adrienne is sketch. He has the power to draw things and bring them to life, bring them into being, which is super cool. He's also a renegade and has a double life. He has 2 personas and he is so kind and just amazing. And that's why he like swings between Hufflepuff for me. But some of the things he does, like he is kind of like tricky in certain ways and he has to use his brain to like outsmart different situations because his power isn't that he's super strong, but he can draw things that help him be stronger. Like he could give himself moon boots or he could make himself fly by that power. And I just think that is so intelligent that the power that he has can make him have other things by only limited by his imagination, because whatever he can make it be. And that's really why I settled on Ravenclaw for him, is because his limit is what he can think up. So those are some characters that I think fit into Ravenclaw, as well as the books that they fit into. Who are your favorite Ravenclaw? I am not a Ravenclaw. I feel like they're my second house. I feel like that's where I would fit next if I didn't fit in Gryffindor. But tell me who you identify with, because I would love to hear it. So thank you so much for watching. Look forward to the next 2 houses. Like I said, give me suggestions for Slytherin and Hufflepuff. I'm still researching those. I only have a couple for each, so please share. I would love to know. And yeah, I put up new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you would like to see some more, you can find them right now.